Welcome to Brush and Banter, the podcast where creativity meets real-life hustle.
Brought to you by Zibra, we go beyond perfect brushstrokes to explore the messy, magical, and meaningful side of being an artist.
I'm Bree Hansen, crafter at heart, creative cheerleader, and president of Zibra.
I'm Annie Bolding, muralist, designer, lover of all things that sparkle, and founder of It's a Disco Day Designs.
And I'm Lauren Cooper, muralist, designer, creative mama, and founder of Rosemont Lane Design Studio.
We're here to bring you conversations with working artists,
practical tips to grow your creative business,
and a built-in painting companion for your next project.
So grab your favorite Zebra brush,
pop in your headphones,
and let the banter begin. Hey friends, welcome back to Brush and Banter. I'm Annie, aka It's a Disco Day, and I'm here with my co-host Lauren, aka Rosemont Lane.
Hi everyone, we are so excited about today's episode because we're gonna go back to where it all started.
That's right. So today's episode is all about beginnings, the first flip, the first wall, the first, part of the creative journey, and everything that follows. So we've got two amazing guests with us today who are no strangers to bold beginnings and big transformations.
So first up, we are joined by Lauren from Furniture Flipping Teacher, a former kindergarten teacher turned full-time refurnisher. She has passion for breathing new life into old furniture and has inspired an entire community of DIYers and creators.
And we're also thrilled to welcome Olga from Olga Muzician, a muralist, large-scale artist known for her bold colors, layered textures, and work that practically dances off the walls. From city streets to curated interiors, Olga's murals have a signature style that's joyful, immersive, and instantly recognizable.
And both of these women have built incredible brands around their work, Lauren in the furniture refurnishing world and Olga in murals and large-scale art. But like all of us, they started somewhere, and so we're so excited to hear about it.
These two women have taken different paths in their careers, but they share a fearless spirit, a love for transformation, and a commitment to helping others grow. So we're excited to have them with us today.
Yay! Welcome, you guys.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. Let's kick it off with Lauren. Welcome to the show. So for people who don't know anything about you and your world, can you just give us like a little quick intro to who you are, what you do, and share how you got started?
Yeah, so I'm Lauren with Furniture Flipping Teacher. As the name of my platform kind of states, I am a former kindergarten teacher. So I actually started flipping furniture during 2020, and we weren't doing school at that moment. And so I needed stuff to do. So I started flipping furniture after remodeling my parents' kitchen, and the table needed to be redone. So I just really fell in love with the process and looking at the befores and afters, and then also realizing that I can earn money by flipping furniture and then selling it on Facebook Marketplace. The first one I did was a $10 flip, and then I ended up selling it for $100. Ooh. And I was like, okay, this could maybe go somewhere. And I was interested in paying off my student loan debt, and I didn't really want to use my teaching salary. I always wanted to figure out a different way to pay that down. So dove in, started a YouTube channel Thanksgiving time of 2020. Long story short, I ended up resigning from teaching and taking the risk and seeing what would happen. Basically, never looked back. I will not be becoming a teacher in the classroom anymore, but now I basically teach people how to flip furniture to earn money for a vacation or to pay off debt or to save up for a wedding, or even to flip furniture for their own home on a budget or even higher end stuff. So it's been a great journey over the past about 5 or so years.
You mentioned I'm teaching people how to flip furniture for to save money for a small vacation or a wedding. Not everybody needs to be like a big mogul, like a millionaire mogul from some side hustle. Sometimes the solution is just doing things at a rate that feels comfortable for you. And I love that that's part of your journey, and part of your goal is to teach people that it's possible to save even for small things if it's just a side goal.
Yep, I totally agree.
So I would love to hear first, Olga, about your origin story. How did you get into murals and painting walls? And if you can, take us back to one of those first projects.
So hi, my name is Olga Muzician of Olga Muzician Studio. feel like my journey started when I was like 6, but murals specifically, I started about 4 years ago. I never thought that I'd be painting murals. I never even knew that that kind of profession even existed, to be honest. When I was young, when I was very little, I was just an artist. I used to love drawing. My godfather was a painter. He had a studio. He taught me everything I know about painting. Throughout the years, I studied graphic design. I studied typography in college. Then I thought I couldn't make any money painting, so I started doing graphic design. So that's when I learned about lettering in college. As I was doing typography, I was working in magazines. So I was working a lot with feature stories and designing, these big lettering pieces. And I found out about murals, and I was really good at painting, but I realized very quickly that I was very bad at lettering. After about a year and a half of every single day posting something and practicing, I finally started seeing some progress. And then that kind of just took everything that I knew about painting and lettering and typography, and I combined it into large scale work. And then from then on, it was just one after the other.
All right, you knew it was coming. It's time for Don't Cry Over Spilled Paint. This is a part of the show where we share the fails, the flops, and the funny stories because we've all been there.
This one is from a listener who wanted to say anonymous. This person had paint on top of a ladder. If you guys haven't seen, like especially on the Husky ladders, there's the little ring that you can fit a quart of paint onto. Mm-hmm. Well, they forgot that they put the paint on top of the ladder because it was out of sight, out of mind. Scoots the ladder, and an entire quart of yellow paint spilled over the entire wall and onto the floor. Luckily, the floor was sand beneath.
That's very lucky.
They only had to grab a shovel and hide the evidence. However, once they started hiding the evidence into the bushes next door, the bushes were covered in yellow paint, and that was something that they couldn't really clean off. So
that is tragic.
Hopefully it started raining for them, and this happened in the desert in Joshua Tree.
Oh man, that is reminding me of kitty litter, scooping cat litter. I have another one from the DMs. This is from our artist, Samantha Stapley. So she said that one time she was painting a mural and she was standing on one of the paint cans.
Been there, done
and
that.
She was standing on one that had the plastic lid instead of the metal. And she leaned up and she put all her weight onto the can and the lid caved. And then she was just covered in green paint, basically.
Was she wearing shoes?
No shoes. It looks like there's a sock on here, so maybe no shoes. Thank you, Sam, for sharing this beautiful moment with us. So we love it. We want to hear from you guys. So if you have any of your flops, fails, moments that were just facepalm, cringeworthy, their opportunity for understanding that we all make mistakes and it's fine. So.
Yeah, DM us your fails, whether or not they're actual spilled paint or just more jaw on the floor, hand, palm, and face, kind of OMG moments. Go ahead and share those in the DMs so we can read them on the next episode.
Back to the episode.
It's not necessarily lucky is a good way of phrasing it, but it's also just a reminder for so many people, especially when you're first starting out, be open to opportunities. And something that I advocate all the time is everyone has to do something first, their first time, right? So it's always going to be that, no matter at what scale, so you might as well go big and learn from that experience. Speaking of learning from experiences, looking back to whether it's the first project or one of the first few projects, from your eyes now and where you're at in business now, are you totally cringing at that first project, or are you you know what, I'm proud of her?
Well, for me, I'd have to say I think I'm proud of it because I still see that mural every day. It's actually on my favorite sushi place now. So it was an abandoned building at the time that I painted it, and now it's this really good sushi place. And they know me there. I go there all the time. I see it, and when I see it, I'm always wow, I can't believe that was my first mural project, that I did this, and it was difficult, and I saw it in my head, and I made it a reality, and it still looks good. And I'm pretty proud of it. When I see it, I'm kind of just in disbelief that's I did that, and that was my first dive into muraling.
I'm also pretty proud of the first project that I did. As I mentioned, it's the kitchen table in my parents' kitchen. And so I often get to see it and see that even after 5 years, it's still holding up really well. Would there be some things that I would have done different if I were to do it now? Yes, but it is looking pretty good for what I did back then. So
That's awesome. That's really sweet and
I
so
know.
special too, to have something that like you actually, both of you, get to see all the time, and maybe also kind of crafted the like acceptance around it because you're proud of it, but then also like you recognize the importance of your origin story and how you started.
Yeah, totally. I love, like Lauren said, that you guys get to see those really often. I feel like my first mural, even when I look back at the pictures, I'm still, obviously, I'm like, I'm so proud of that. But it definitely was a project where I learned like a lot. It was like my first project was an Airbnb of all things. And so somebody just trusted me entirely, and I was like, okay, yeah, sure, I can deliver. But so I'm curious if you guys have like a project. I know for me, I learned a lot on that job, just about myself and how I work and time management and actual physical skills. But do you guys have like one piece or one project that taught you, you feel like this is the one that taught me everything I know, or this project taught me so much? It was like such a learning project for you. Do you have any of those examples?
Honestly, like all of them. Every single project I learned something different where I'm like, oh, I should have done this way. Okay, next time I'll change that. I can't pinpoint a specific project, but with the content that we create, I'm also able to go back and look and see at, all of the photos and videos taken of my projects. And I'm like, it allows me to see that I have come a long way from, those projects over the years.
I agree with Lauren. I was going to say that, it's every project teaches you something new, and it's not one specific project that teaches you this big lesson. I feel like there's always something goes wrong every project. For me, I mean, I do have one project where the biggest lesson that I learned in my business was that I had this wall that was really, really high up. It was a brick wall, 30 feet up in the air. And from the very beginning, from the transfer, it was just kind of a disaster. It was, they brought me like a cherry picker truck instead of a lift for the transfer. And it was dark outside, and I was trying to transfer this thing with a projector, and the brick, it kind of absorbs light. So when you're transferring to raw brick, you can't really see the image up close. Even if it's dark, it's very hard to see. Plus it was so far away from the projector. So I couldn't see anything. And I had to kind of like keep backing up on this thing that I couldn't even control. It was really hard to control this cherry picker to see the image and like remember where the lines are, quickly go to the front and like draw the line where it was a disaster. It took me hours, and I had all these people watching me because they were there watching the truck and watching me do it. And I'm pretty sure I was in tears. Nobody knew this, but I was ready to give up and just go home. That was the one time in my whole career so far that I just didn't think I could do it. But I did it. It did work out in the end. And the biggest lesson for me was that no matter how big the problem that I face, I know that in the end, it will work out. Like, I know I will figure it out. I don't know how yet, but I will. And so that kind of helps me now, because when I am faced with a problem, I just kind of have to take a moment and breathe and think about it. And I know that eventually it'll work out. I'm stressed out right now, but somehow, it'll be good in the end.
Oh my gosh, that sounds like a lot of muralists' worst nightmare. But you know what I was thinking when you're saying that is like, I mean, speaking of the teacher comment, like how kids will get like participation awards like for showing up. Like, I feel like all of us artists deserve like just a right out of the gate like problem solving award, that no one like really knows how much goes into the work that we do, whether it's on a piece of furniture, on a brick wall, wherever it may be. Like, there is so much mental math and problem solving that our clients put trust in us for. And like, I mean, props to them, because it's true, like each wall is different, and we can be in the beginning of our career or at the end of our career, but like each wall tells us a new story, or each piece of furniture gives us a new lesson. And I guess I'm just recognizing the fact that like we do so much behind the scenes that like doesn't get seen ever, and tears that are shed or blood that is shed. And just final note, like, it is so frustrating when the client is there. I'm like, go away. Like, do not watch this part.
Don't watch me.
I've had clients literally come up to me and be like, are you going to get that spot? I'm like, no, actually, I'm not. It's a work in progress. Like, come back when it's done.
I know. I always wish I could like cover it up before anybody sees it, because it's always a disaster in the middle because it's just a mess. And then, and in the end, it's like at the very end, that's when it gets perfect.
Totally.
The ugly phase is real. No two projects are the same. No two walls were created equal, and every single space is different. And so I always am like in the mindset of day one being like, I have to put on a problem solver hat and my big girl pants, because I might cry, but that's okay, because if I cry, I'm going to still do it.
Yeah, I've definitely learned, but I still learn it every project, that every project takes way longer than maybe you've allotted for. But I still forget that between projects. And so every project I'm like, oh, I'll be done in a couple days. And then it's like, oh, wait, this took way longer than I anticipated because of whatever popped up.
Yeah,
exactly.
Story of my life. Every time a client is like, how long do you think this will take? I'm like, I don't know, like 2 days, and cut to me like 6 days later.
Yeah,
that's going strong. Almost done.
What I want to dive into next is signature looks. So both of you guys are obviously recognizable for the work that you've done and that you continue to put out. Do you feel like you have a signature look right now? And do you feel like that's evolved throughout time? Like, are you attached to that like idea in general, or how do you process that?
I don't necessarily feel like I have a signature look. Personally, like, I could be wrong. Maybe people, recognize my stuff. But I see other people who also flip furniture, and they're not necessarily doing a ton of content creation. And I see like, this is what their pieces really look like, whether it be like, I always add this specific medium to my pieces, or I'm always doing this hardware, or it's always this color because I know that sells. Where for me, I feel like I have always tried to be as wide and as open as possible for what I do create, so that my videos aren't super redundant every time. Like, the flipping process is pretty redundant, which I've tried to make it that way so that people know like it doesn't have to be so difficult. But with that being said, I don't love to do the same color every single time, because nobody wants to see a black dresser painted all the time from start to finish every single week, whether that be like different pieces of furniture. Like, I try to mix it up and do a vanity, and then let's do some nightstands, and then a full piece, and then, or a full like 4-piece set, and then a coffee table, and then a kitchen table, and then an arch cabinet, and then like just trying to really mix it up. I would say that maybe my most signature look would be that I try to still keep it pretty simple, and I'm not trying to do a whole bunch of work, because at the end of the day, the more time spent, the less profit that is able to be attained from each piece of furniture. So
yeah, I mean, I feel like I do have a signature look. A lot of my murals have lettering in them, and they're, sometimes they're similar styled lettering. I love painting flowers and leaves and, anything nature inspired. But I find it funny that sometimes when I feel like I do something out of my style, somebody will come and tell me, oh, this is so you. This looks like I knew it was your work. And I was like, how? Because I don't understand, because it looks to me completely different from all of my work. So I guess there's something to it. I mean, I like color. Sometimes I have like up to 50 colors in a mural. So I do think like I have a signature style, but I do try to not, get stuck in it. I do try to evolve and add more details. Like, I don't want to get stuck in a specific style and then just constantly do the same thing over and over and over again, because I get bored. While it still looks kind of similar, it does evolve over time.
All right, you guys, quick break to talk brushes, because Zibra just dropped something super exciting.
Yes, we've launched 3 brand new bundle and save brush sets on our site, and they're a total game changer.
So whether you're furniture flipping, painting walls, or cutting trim, these bundles were built with real artists in mind. You get the right brushes for your work, and you save while you're at it.
Ooh, there's a detail bundle, walls and trim bundle, and a furniture flipping bundle. Each one is curated to give you the exact tools you need without any of the guesswork.
You can check them all out now at enjoyzebra.com, and because you're a podcast listener, use the code BANTER10 at checkout for 10% off your order.
We are all about helping you work smarter, and these bundles are the perfect upgrade.
Make sure to go get them now. Use BANTER10. Woo!
So if you're both talking about like, yes, I kind of have this style, Olga, yours is definitely on the colorful, bold end, and Lauren, you're saying like, you know, the simple and the cost efficient to flip, and that makes sense. But have you guys had like a client who maybe they wanted you to do something completely out of your norm? Are you opposed to going far outside of that reach from like away from your signature look, or is that something that you're excited about leaning into, something that's outside of your wheelhouse? And I'm curious just to hear about, you know, if you have a story like that, or if something, you know, like that has come across your project plate.
Yeah, I think for me, it depends. I have said no to projects that I felt were too out of my style or out of my wheelhouse. But I do like to take on different projects. This is just a couple months ago, I did a project that was just 3 shades of green, basically, and some gold accents. And that was different for me because I typically use a lot of color. But I took it on because I liked the client. It was like a really good project, and I wanted to try something new. So I like that. Right now, I'm doing another mural that's also kind of out of my style. There's kind of no color, just black and white, you know, maybe some touches of color, but it's more masculine. I like that style too. So I want to try that. I want to have different versions of art in my portfolio. I don't want to just have one thing, because then clients focus too much on that one thing and they think that I only do that one thing. And then I don't want to lose those projects. I want to have a well-rounded portfolio so that people can see that I can do different things.
Oftentimes people just want you to do like quotes on murals and lettering and typography. And in my head, it's funny because I have a really hard time ever getting clients to ever want to do quotes. And I love lettering and I love typography. And so I'm always like, oh, we could do like a fun quote. And they're like, no, just art. And so I think it's funny that you're on the entirely end of the spectrum of people being like, we just want a quote. And I'm over here like, how do I get people to want this quote? But it sounds like maybe if I start creating more with typography and lettering mixed in, then that's an easier way to attract, you know, clients that are curious about that.
When people think about furniture flipping or furniture refinishing, that it's not necessarily painting. And so a lot of people come to me wanting me to fully strip the finish of a piece and then redo it basically as it was. So staining it, making sure, you know, if there's any veneer chipping and things like that, which is great, but it's just not something that I love to do. I've kind of started dabbling into it a little bit more, and I feel like the more that I get into it, the more I'm like, okay, it's not so scary. I just had a client ask me to do a record player that still works, but it's just, you know, probably 75 years old, and so it's been through the ringer. It has scratches and things like that, and so I took on the project and it turned out really awesome. And I was able to do a lot of color matching with the staining. Again, giving me a little bit of a confidence boost. I will take on projects that I'm maybe not the most comfortable with also because, again, I love to teach, and mostly like my teaching style is I'm going to just take you guys along with what I'm going to do, and I'm going to walk you through exactly what I'm doing. We'll figure out if it works together or if it works or not together. And, you know, I'll let you know, do this, don't do this. So that's kind of my approach to new projects that I'm not necessarily used to doing.
Yeah, it's fun when you do accept those projects where it does feel a little out of scope at first and you do have to put on the thinking cap. But I feel like in the end, those ones truly do like teach us bigger lessons, even though it's a little scary, yeah. It's uncomfortable. Like I would be so scared to touch something that was 75 years old. So like just big kudos to you on that one. But yeah, I just feel like you learn so much when you do step a little bit out of the signature look, the signature style.
Yeah. And then I feel like you're just that much more proud of whatever you accomplish. You know, it's like, I've never done, and also I need to be upfront with my clients. Like I've never done this before, or, you know, this is a couple of times, but I will get it done. If you trust me, then let's do it. Hopefully any mistakes that could be made could be fixed.
Yeah, that communication is so important. I love your teaching style too. Maybe it's because like, you know how to really like, is dumb things down like the right way to say it, like, you know, like appease to an audience, like step by step. So I really appreciate that, and I am even inspired to try something really outside of my comfort zone, because I've been trying to do some more like DIY home projects too, but like yeah, like smaller scale for some reason just feels really intimidating until I started watching your videos and I was like, okay, you know what? Maybe I actually could do this. So I appreciate
Awesome.
it.
Yeah, I get that comment a lot. I think after all, I was a kindergarten teacher, and so that's just more so like my teaching style of just making it as simple as possible. So,
Well, I have a question then. If you are coming from this like kindergarten teaching background, what part of your job now do you feel that the kindergarten teaching and the education background has helped you show up better in your job now?
so just knowing that everybody comes in at different levels of knowledge. Maybe some people that are watching my videos for the first time have never picked up a power tool or never picked up a paintbrush. Maybe they've never even painted a wall like just one color. But then also remembering that there may be some more advanced people. Like it was the same way in the classroom where you had to cater to all of them at the same time. And I also feel like people who are watching my videos, they're there either for entertainment or to learn. And so as long as they have that mindset, then my goal is just for them to be able to take something away from that.
Something I am really, really passionate about is being a small business owner and all that goes into that. Like we said before, there's a lot behind the scenes that's happening. So what's something that's like a challenge that you faced that you weren't expecting when you started your business, and something that you've implemented daily or weekly that you are using now as a businesswoman?
You have to wear a lot of hats. And so with the content creation and the furniture flipping, I think I kind of touched on it earlier that I don't want to always do the same projects over and over, but those also sell. And so just kind of finding that balance for me has been the biggest challenge. But something that I've learned is that I can do something for some video content, and then if it doesn't sell within a certain amount of time, then it's actually a good learning experience for my audience too. And I can do another video that's like, hey, I did this set or this piece and it didn't sell. So let's figure out something that we can do to it to change it up that will sell. And always knowing that there is going to be that right buyer out there, but it may take time. And so if you want to kind of speed up that process, then either cater to your audience or to your buyers right away, or switch it up down the road.
Yeah. What about you, Olga?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Lauren, and it's kind of my answer is kind of similar in that one of the challenges for me is I have learned that I can't get too comfortable in any one, point in my business, because things change and clients change, and what worked last year might not work this year. And it's been a challenge, like getting into a groove, and then all of a sudden everything that you're doing doesn't seem to be working anymore. And, you need to pivot, and you need to try different things, try different ways of presenting yourself, different ways of sending proposals. It's like you think when you start a business that once you figure it out, that's it. Like you're figured it out and it's going to be great from then on, but it's really not. And, and that's something that was like kind of a hard lesson. You have to keep changing things, and you have to keep learning. No matter how well it's working, it won't work, moving forward. Something's going to change. So I think that's just been like one of the biggest challenges for me.
That is so prevalent. And I feel like what's happening right now on social media is almost this like work this hard in the pre-phase of your business, and then get to a place where you can plateau, and then you're just going to make a bunch of money and you're going to be great. And I feel like there's a little bit of that lie. The reality is in business, you're going to wear a lot of hats. You're going to be doing a lot of things. You're going to be like reinventing the wheel, even though you're doing the same thing every single time, keeping up with social media and projects and clients and trends and money, and all of those things can be so emotional. I feel like something Annie and I talk a lot about, and I'd love for you to ask that question about burnout, is like we get halted and we sometimes reach burnout,
Yeah, because we're doing so many things for our own business. We're the photographer, we're the videographer, we're the business person, we're doing QuickBooks, we're writing captions. Like we're constantly using our brains at like high maximum frequency. So I'm curious, do you guys do anything to handle and avoid burnout? Do you just lean in and let yourself crash out from time to time? What's your guys' method for handling that?
I try to, if I do have burnout, it's a lot of times not during busy moments, it's during the not busy moments. And I find that it's harder for me to get back into the busy seasons after not, working as much. And so what I usually do is I'm not very good at it, but I try to take a break and just not think about work. I'll spend time with my family. I'll try to take weekends off, which I've been really bad at, but just don't work on weekends, go have fun, go apple picking, go to the farm, like do something that's going to take your mind off of things, because then the more time you spend like out in nature or just walking I used to bike a lot and that was really good for thinking, but now sometimes I'll just do all my thinking while I'm driving. But when you're not thinking about work, that's when it'll come to you. And also what I do is if I'm really stuck and I'm really like in a rush to get a project done, I will just look for inspiration on Pinterest. And it's not, not even in designs, but I'll look for photographs. I'll look for different maybe pattern designs, just everything that kind of loosely has to do with what I have to design. I'll just look through all these images and then I start seeing patterns of what I'm drawn to, like certain color palettes that I keep, being drawn to, or certain shapes. Then I'll go to sleep and then the next morning I'll wake up and I'll have more ideas in my head.
Totally. You got to feed the creative wolf sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
When Olga said that, burnout kind of comes on like the lower times or the times where you're not as busy, that kind of makes sense because I feel like that's the same for me too. But then when that is the case, I'm looking for the next series or the next, set of projects where I'm like, okay, how can I do it big? What can be next that I can like kind of dive myself into, because I do enjoy being busy and doing things. And so that's kind of how I guess I don't really avoid burnout, but that's how I kind of get through it. And I'm like, okay, like what's next? What can I be excited about?
It's exciting to hear about these moments when we're coming out of a burnout, celebrating all the wins. And so I do want to move into our favorite segment. Is one of them is the golden moment.
The Golden Moment, inspired by Golden Brush Awards, where we're going to ask each guest, everyone who comes onto the podcast, to share a recent moment that felt meaningful, whether it was joyful, surprising, or just a moment where it all clicked.
I think that my golden moment is that sometimes there's lulls in sales of furniture, but then sometimes it all just hits and there's a whole bunch of people that are like, hey, is this available? Is this available? And I'm like, yeah. And then I'll have like 3 pickups like within one day. And so that's happening. And so I love that, the thrill of someone else wanting my work in their home. So
that's awesome. How about you, Olga?
My golden moment was that I had a project that from booking to completion had to be less than 2 weeks. And not only did it happen and it was finished, but it was also very easy somehow, very inspired. And the best part was that because I was rushing to get it done, I had to paint on the weekend and I couldn't find assistance because it was just too last minute. And my whole family ended up coming and helping me. So like my daughter, my husband, my mom, and my mom's never painted with me before. And it was really nice to just like have my people there, and just like paint together. And it was just like a nice way to spend the weekend, like on a nice sunny farm, with animals around. And it was fun.
That's so sweet.
And that definitely sounds very golden, to be out on a little farm with your family. I love that. Well, thank you guys for sharing those moments with us. But Lauren and Olga, thank you both so much for being here today and sharing your journeys with us. It's always amazing to see how far we all come as creatives and how those early projects helped shape the work you do now.
And for all of our listeners, whether you're picking up your brush for the first time or the 1,000th time, something that we learned today is that your creativity matters and it's really important to keep growing and learning. Don't be afraid to look back and laugh. And I think we both learned a lot from you guys, and thank you so much for sharing your stories.
Yeah, and just for the listeners, if you each want to let us know, where can they find you? Do you have somewhere you want to plug? Send our listeners.
I'm on YouTube at Furniture Flipping Teacher, along with all the other platforms, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook.
So I'm under Olga Musician with a Z on TikTok and Instagram, same name under everything.
And then for our listeners, be sure to tag us at Zebra Painting in your next flip or mural. We definitely want to see what you're working on.
And don't forget to check out it's the Bundle and Save. And so these are the new brush sets at enjoyzebra.com.
And thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having
me. Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Brush and Banter podcast, brought to you by Zibra. We're so grateful you're a part of the creative community. Gearing up for your next project? head to enjoyzebra.com to grab your new favorite brushes, designed for comfort, precision, and serious creative flow. Be sure to follow Zebra Painting on Instagram for painting tips, artist features, and more. If you enjoyed our banter, subscribe on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts, and don't forget to leave a 5-star rating and review. Now, go make something beautiful. We'll be here when you need a little banter.